here, as long as this stays plugged in when it's upstairs, which it should, because if the iPad gets discharged,
Then, yeah.
it takes a while to charge, so you won't be ready to go the next time. Good, because when it's green, it's on. When she starts, and then it will start going on. And
we've been placing it just up on the table.
yes, and it should be, I think we were going to try to get it a little higher, but it was okay. Actually, I think we were pretty happy with it. I think we were pretty happy with it. The thing that happened when she plays guitar, I had it like outside the last one, right next to her, and like the voice sounded great. But then when she played guitar, it was too loud. And that's just something you're gonna fight. If the voice sounds great, I think the voice, you gotta go with the voice.
Yeah.
So one thing you can do when this, let's see here, actually. No, I'm not seeing the button. There should be a button that tells you the address of your private stream. And I thought it used to be at the top. But again, maybe they moved it.
Yeah. Is there a reason why we use YouTube and not a different streaming service?
Yeah, I mean, it is, like, if this looks like it has problems, the other ones have worse problems.
Yeah,
I mean,
I just...
they're one of the biggest, and it's easiest for people to hop on YouTube and see it.
It's very easy to jump.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
And we got to make it kind of elderly proof, so
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
So what was interesting here is I'm trying to get to there used to be a share button up here that would tell you the address of your stream so that you could hop on it when it's private and see it and make sure it works all right. But did they decide that that wasn't useful? Because that's like really useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's gone.
It's
It might
not-
be in the main studio page. Like here, that's where I remember it being. Oh, so this bar disappeared for some reason when we, so usually it looks like this.
Okay. Is this the same as this one down here, where it was copy? Is that the same? Well, I mean, I guess if you copy it, it's not gonna make a difference. You can't.
Oh, it's not the same as the menu bar. You have to go to this button,
That one,
and then it
okay.
says,
That's the link, okay.
youtube.be/. But once you're live, like publicly
Yeah, yeah,
live, you can just go to the page and get it much
Right,
easier.
right.
This is
Right.
just the
Private,
workaround
yeah.
for seeing it when it's,
Private, yeah.
yeah, and that's a 0. believe it or not.
So, okay, so is there ever a reason we really need to go private?
Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Check. 1, 2, 3.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. It is wonderful to see so many new faces here, and also very bittersweet because I know the reason that so many new faces that are here, so many faces of neighbors, is of course that so many of us are deeply, deeply missing our beloved friend and neighbor, Lenny Braverman, Zichrono Livracha, will be meeting his, well, I see right now, will be meeting his sisters later this morning and hearing from them. They'll be taking an aliyah in his memory and speaking some words about him, which I know many of us are really looking forward to hearing. It's also just a chance for us to gather together and have some Shabbat rest, Shabbat singing, Shabbat Torah study, and I'm really looking forward to doing that with all of you. I'm also really grateful that Dan Gordon is here. He'll be leading a couple parts of the service, so we'll get to hear his beautiful voice. And I think we also probably have some more people joining via live stream than usual this morning, potentially, as well as a couple folks on Zoom because they'll be speaking. We have a supplement, a link for the supplement. So the supplement in hard copy is over there. A link to the supplement is going to be posted on the YouTube service for those of you live streaming. And we haven't been creating new Sidurim lately for services, new virtual Sidurim. We've been offering people the opportunity to pick up Sidurim or to get Sidurim dropped off in hard copy if they'd like to use them from home. But if you're at home and you don't have a Siddur, you don't have a hard copy Siddur, and you ask someone on the live stream chat on the YouTube link, one of my colleagues might just be able to wrestle up an old link for you, which should be pretty much the same, give or take, pretty much what you need. With no further ado, try to turn off all electronics that we don't need for this service, which for some of us at home, I know we need a few. For those of you who are here in person, we've got bathrooms this way, exits that way. And let's begin by acknowledging that most of us are davening today on the ancestral lands of the Anacostan people. We occupy Anacostan and Anacostan homeland, and their presence is imbued in this land, these rivers, islands, and coastal plains. So we offer our respects to their elders, past and present. So let's turn to page 10 of our Sidurim, and wherever we are davening from, wherever we are joining from, we find Matovu, words of appreciation for the sacred spaces where we join together in community, whether they be in person, virtual, spiritual. For the places and ways that we gather, we sing Matovu. Page, we find Talmud Torah, an opportunity for Torah study. And we'll be studying a lot more Torah later this morning, but it's tradition to start off morning prayer with just a little bit, at least, of Torah study. So we'll be starting with like the tiniest bit, a blessing for Torah study, and then one of the, I would say, most basic lines of Torah, one of the first that a young person learns when they start to prepare for B'nai Mitzvah, but one that is really touching me for a couple of reasons this morning. So let's read together under Talmud Torah. I'll be reading in Hebrew. You're welcome to read in the English. And after the blessing, we'll read that one extra line, and that will be our little mini Torah study this morning. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. So I initially thought of bringing these words for our little mini Torah study this morning because of where we are in the Torah. We're at this place, we'll talk about it later, where our ancestors are really focused on material objects and how we're going to try to use them to feel closer to our Creator, to feel closer to our Liberator. And so these words talk about loving God with like all that we have in every way, and the ancient rabbis interpret that sometimes as even like with what we have materially. But then also, like, of course, I'm just looking around this room and I'm looking at my computer and I'm just like seeing the faces of all these people who like loved and love this man, Lenny Braverman, and I'm just remembering how he would literally show up at all sorts of things, at everything. He was always around. And I'm just thinking about, you know, a person who really loved Adonai with everything he had in all these different ways. I'm thinking about how he would be at the really serious Torah study, and he would be, he would want to come to the, like, you know, sort of more, you know, silly, or not silly, but like secular, certainly adult education things. He came to my house to have soup and learn about like gender diversity and gender variance in Judaism when like almost no one else came, but I knew he would be there, and he totally was. I want to be more like that, and so I'm remembering him especially right now. Okay, so moving on to some davening. Let's turn to page 12, and we have Elohai Neshama. These words, this reminder that every time we wake up in the morning, we get this new, fresh start. And everything that's come before the day, we have an opportunity to sort of move forward, to find some renewal, because ultimately we were made with a pure soul, and we wake up with that in the morning as well. Page 13, our morning blessings. We start with the second stanza. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lesech v'bina lehavchin ben yom uven laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'atzani betzalmo. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני בת חורין. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם פוקח עיוורים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מלביש ערומים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מתיר אסורים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם זוקף כפופים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם רוקע הארץ על המים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשה לי קוצוקי. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר הכין מצעדי גבר. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם עוזר ישראל בגבורה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם עוצר ישראל בתפארה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם הנותן לאלף כוח. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המעביר שינה מעיניי ותנומה מעפעפיי. Turn to page 18. Middle of the page. Elecha Adonai ekra ve'el Adonai etchanan. Elecha Adonai ekra ve'el Adonai etchanan. Shema Adonai v'choneni. Adonai ehyeh ozer li. Shema Adonai v'choneni. Adonai ehyeh ozer li. Page 19. With gratitude for creation. Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Shemo, V'haya ha'olam. Baruch Oseh Bereshit. Baruch Oseh Ve'oseh. Baruch Oseh Umekayem. Baruch Merachem al haaretz. Baruch Merachem al habriyot. Baruch Meshalem Zachar tov lichayah. Baruch Chai La'ad V'kayam la'netzach. Baruch Podeh U'matzil. Baruch Hu U'Baruch Shemo. Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. Let's read together in our supplement, Psalm 92, a song for Shabbat, this interpretive poem by Shira Naim Brisman. Read together. How good it is to sing praises in God's name, to declare loving kindness in the morning and faithfulness by night. These were the words sung by Adam and Eve after the first night, when darkness descended without warning or explanation, when they felt certainties slipping away and fearfulness encroaching on their dreams. But in the morning, dawn broke, and in gratitude they sang this song in amazement, as they awoke to find they were in the garden on the first Sabbath day. Soon they would learn the full glories of God's garden and the work to be done, the trimming back of wild thoughts that mistake another's silence for abandonment, the pruning of the myth that we do not have a choice, the weeding of overgrown traditions that need to be plucked. All this they would learn, but for now a day of rest. Let this be my song for Shabbat. May the righteous flourish like a palm tree, grow like the cedar of Lebanon. In the house of God we shall flourish, we shall bear fruit, even in old age, always vigorous and sturdy as we sing. To seek godliness is just. Let it be my rock. Let me do no wrong. Page 28, the end of that very psalm. Turn the page, Ashrei, page 29. Ashrei yoshvei beitecha, od yahalelucha selah. Tehillah leDavid, aromimcha Eloi hamelech, vavacha shimcha leolam vaed. Gadol Adonai mulal me'od, v'li gdulato en cheker. Hadar kavod odecha, v'divrei niflotacha asicha. Zecher abtivcha yabiyu, v'tzidkatcha yeranenu. Tov Adonai lakol, v'rachamav al kol ma'asav. Kevod malchutecha yomeru, ugvuratcha yedaberu. Malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshatecha bechol dor vador. עיני חולליך יצברו, ואתה נותן להם את אכלם בעיתו. צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו. רצון יראיו יעשה, ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיעם. תהילת אדוני ידבר פי, יברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד, ואנחנו נברך יה מעתה ועד עולם. Hallelujah. Turn to page 32 for Psalm 148. Our penultimate psalm in this sort of warm-up section of our service. You're welcome to sing along in the Hebrew, or as with all parts of the service, to look through the English, but I am especially in love with this psalm and the diversity of being, of creatures, and of people that it evokes. So just like I see so many awesome different people here this morning for so many different reasons, different generations all together. I see that reflected in the psalm as well, so let's sing. Our final psalm, page 33, Psalm 150. 35. נשמת כל חי, תברך את שמך. אדוני אלוהינו ברוח כל בשר, תפאר תרומם זכרך, מלכנו תמיד. מן העולם ועד העולם אתה אל, ומדברך אננו מלך כהן ומושיע, פודה ומצום פנס ומרחם בכל עת צרה וצוקה. אין לנו מלך אלא אתה. לך לברך אנחנו מודים. Middle of page 36. Turn to page 41. As we move into our Shacharit service, we're out of our warm-up. But before we come to this moment, the Chatzi Kaddish, it's our first moment this morning where we really need a minyan, we really need a community to do it together. So I want to take an opportunity to appreciate the minyan we have around us. Maybe say a Shabbat Shalom, give an elbow bump or whatever people do, or just like wave to the people around you. And also, y'all can see we have, I have no idea how many people are on the live stream, but in addition to any live streamers, we've got Gail and Paula, Lenny Braverman's sisters, as well as Marlene, because she'll be giving announcements today. That's why she's not on live stream. She's on Zoom. And can you all see who's here? So this is our... And let's rise in body or in spirit for the Chatzi Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שם ברבה, ועמד יברח יוצא וימליך מלכותה, וחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דוכל בית ישראל, והגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעמי עמיה, יתברך וישבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי קודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, באמירן בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. Page 42, the call to prayer. ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. You may be seated. We bless you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe. You create light and darkness. You make peace and create all things. Hakol yoducha v'hol yivshalchucha. אין גרקך ואין זולתך, אפס בלתך ומי דומה לך. Page 45. אל אדון הכל המעשים ברוך ומבורך, לפי כל נשמה גודלו וטובו, מלא עולם דעת ותבונה סובב ממותו. המתגאה על חיות בקודש קודש ונדר בכבוד על המרכבה זכות ומשול לפני חיסו חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו טובים מאוד שברא אלוהינו יצרם בדעת הבינה ובשכל כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מושלים בקרב תבל מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה נעזיבם בכל העולם שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם עושים בהם הרצון קונם פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמות סולה ורינה לזכר מלכותו קרא לשמש ויזרח אורה והתקין צורת הלבנה שבח נותנים לו כל צבא מרום תפארת וגדולה שרפים ואופנים וחיות הקודש Page 47 תתברך צורנו מלכנו וגאולנו ברי קדושים ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו כולם אהובים כולם ברורים כולם גיבורים וכולם מקבלים עליהם ומלכות שמיים זה מזה ונותנים רשות זה לזה להקדיש יוצרם בנחת רוח בשפה ברורה ובנעימה קדושה כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים בהירה קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות ללא כל הארץ כבודו page 48 האופנים וחיות הקודש ורעש גדול מנסים לעומת שרפים לעומתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני לאל ברוך נמות ייתנו. Bottom of page 48. אור חדש הציון תאיר אור חדש הציון תאיר ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו יננאי 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 ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות. Page 49, reflecting on the infinite love we're capable of receiving through our capacity to learn, to study, and to engage in mitzvot. Ahava rabba, ahavtanu, ahava rabba, ahavtanu, ahava rabba, ahavtanu, ahava rabba, ahavtanu. Middle of the page. והאל עינינו בתורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך ויחד לבבינו אהבה ויראה את שמך, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך. We gather together the four corners of our tzitzit. We gather ourselves together, envisioning a time of unity, safety, harmony, peace for all. והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת עבודתך, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול, סלע באמת, להודות לך ולייחדך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. Page 51, Lishma. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Let's read together the Shema to Comfort Mourners by Devin Spear on our supplementary sheet. To remember these words not only when we lie down in slumber, and not only when we rise up to greet the light of the day, but when our heart breaks in loss. A part of ourself hangs on, while the rest of our body tumbles to earth. In the suspension of disbelief, we cling to the in-between place that your words fold into. And like a note nestled in your holy wall, we gradually fold into each other, into the loss, and into you. Through uncertainty, we come into love that picks us up and shows us everything we are meant to live and die for. Page 57. Tehilot le'elyon baruch בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם. Prepare for the Amidah. Dan will be leading us, so come on up. Just a moment, we'll rise in body or in spirit. We'll face east. I assume everyone, even tuning in virtually, is west of Jerusalem, but we'll turn towards there for the Amidah. The bottom of page 57.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei HaKol Zocher haseavot v'imahot, u'mevigula lifnei bneihem leman shemo b'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen. Baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham u'pokei tzara. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei metim atah rab lehoshia. Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechayim hilchai b'rachamim rabim. Somech noflim v'rofeh holim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, mishenei afar, michamocha ba'al geburot, Umidom elah, melech meimit u'mechaye, u'masmiach Yeshua, b'ne'eman atal hachayot kol chai, baruch atah Adonai, mechaye kol chai. Page 60. Mekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, ki shem shemakti shimoto b'shmei marom, Kakatuv al yad nevi'echa, v'karasel ze v'yamar. Kadosh, 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 Adonai tzvaot, Nochol haaretz kivodo. Az b'kol rash gadol, adir v'hazak mashmim kol, minaseim lumat serafim, v'yom hatam baruch yomeru. Baruch Yevod Adonai Mimkomo במקומך מלכנו תופיע, ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לה. מתי תמלוך בציון, בקרוב ימינו לעולם ועד תשכון. תתקדל ותתקדש, בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור ולנצח ולנצח נצחים. בעינינו תראנה, תרנה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך, על ידי דוד משיח צדקך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, דור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושה שלך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. כי המלך גדול גדול וקדוש גדול וקדוש אתה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Continue at your own pace or be seated as you're ready. We'll join in our prayer for peace on page 73. Shalom Milroma, Huya Ase Shalom Aleinu, Ve'acho Yisrael, Ve'imhu Amen. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu. Kol Yisrael, Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Hashikoach. You might as well not go sit down though, because Dan is also leading the beginning of our Torah service for us, which is in just a second. We'll transition with the Kaddish Shalem on page 74. You can rise for that if you like, as is your custom. יתגדל ויתקדש שמך הבא, ואמר יברכותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחייתו בישראל, בגלה ובזמן חליב דאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם עולמי עמיה. יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, יתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה, שמי לקודשה לכו. לעילם מכל ברכתה ושירתה, משפחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן ועמה ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צאתנו ורצון לכל בית ישראל, קדם אברהם ובשמעיה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו amen. So before we begin the Torah service, there are a few roles we need to fill. Kate, you get first dibs if you want to join Dan up here for any of the following: opening the ark, carrying the Torah around, or I guess he won't be up here for this, but Hagba and Galila.
Okay, I help open the ark.
Awesome, beautiful. Would anyone like to carry the Torah around? You want to do it?
Sure.
Okay, it makes sense because you do. Okay. How about Hagba? Is anyone an experienced Torah lifter, Hagba person? None of my go-to folks are here this morning. What do you say? We're in Exodus, so it's like not the best for righties. I wouldn't do it, and I'm a lefty. But I'm really not a Hagba person. Seriously? All right, thanks, Howard. Amazing. I'll spot you. Okay, and Galila, dressing the Torah. This could also be like a group of people. It could be a couple of people. It could be something that like you would get your kid to do, but then you come up and do it with them. Yeah? Okay, I see a head shake and a hand raise. I'm taking that as a yes. Okay, great. Beautiful. Thanks, guys. Okay, page 75.
In kamocha v'Elohim Adonai v'in kema'asecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai os le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Av harachamim, etiva birtzoncha, et Zion. Tivnei chomor Yerushalayim. Tivnei chomor Yerushalayim. Ki becha levad batachnu, melech el ram v'nitzah, Adon olamim.
Please rise in body or in spirit as the ark is opened.
Vayikibin Aharon Vayomer Moshe Kuma Adonai V'yafutzu oivecha V'yanusu misanecha mipanecha Ki mitzion tetzei Torah Ki mitzion tetzei Torah Udevar Adonai Mirushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Namo Yisrael Ikedushato.
Page 77.
Be'anarachis Belis Kadisha Kadisha Yakira Anaimar Tushbehan Be'anarachis Be'anarachis Belis Kadisha Kadisha Yakira Anaimar Tushbehan Yehei Rahava Kodama Detitach Libi V'oraita V'tashli Mishali Belibi Beliba Dechol Amach Yisrael V'tavu Chaim V'lishlam Amen. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo.
Gadol Adonai iti uneromem Shemo yachtav. Echad Adonai Chavidu.
Ticho bashamayim uvaretz ticho bashamayim uvaretz lecha Adonai amalecha v'mitnaseh lecha Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'ishachavu le'adam alev kadoshu Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'ishachavu le'adam Ki kadosh Eloheinu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehal kodesho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehal kodesho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Okay, you may be seated. So our Torah reading, our first one will begin, we're on our Chumash, our Torah commentary, on page 550. We're in Parshat Truma. We're getting together all sorts of materials for the Mishkan, for the physical dwelling place where our ancestors imagined they would kind of be carrying around with them through the wilderness this divine energy. I don't know. What do you think they were doing with that? We'll read about it. We'll think about it. We'll figure it out. Maybe. We're in the book of Exodus, chapter 26, verse 31. So like the bottom section of the page, 550. Our first laner is going to be Dan. This first aliyah, this first Torah blessing of 3 will be for anyone who is celebrating simcha, something happy. Do you have a birthday around now? An anniversary? Something else exciting that you're celebrating? Yes?
It's my birthday.
Oh my Lord, happy birthday. That's amazing. Please come on up. That's wonderful. Anyone want to join the birthday girl? Yes? Oh my gosh, Courtney, that's so cool. Birthday twins, I love that. Anyone else? It's like a birthday flash mob. You don't know that? That's so cool. Wow. Okay, amazing. I've like the worst memory ever. Gloria Avniel, Basara, Vadelmar, Vabetti. What? Yeah, okay. I knew one day I would remember. Okay, and Courtney, what's your Hebrew name?
Zisel Baila.
Zisel Baila?
Bat David. Vamalka.
Hanamalka. I might need help. We'll see. And happy birthday. This is wonderful. So we got our Torah blessings right here. Torah blessings in our Sidurim are on page 79. Again, we're on page 550, bottom part of the page. Ya'amdu Gloria Avniel, Bat Abraham, Basala, Vadelmal, Vabetti, Vazisel Baila, Bat David, Vachanamalka, La'aliyah Harishonah.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Im Kol Hamim V'natan Lanu Et Toratav. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Ve'asita parochet techelet bi'argaman v'tola shani v'shesh mashzar Maseh choshev yaseh otach kiruvim v'natata otah al arba'a amudei shitim mitzupim zahav bavehem zahav al arba'a adnei chasef V'natata et haparochet tachat hakarasim v'heveta shama mibei laparochet el aron haidut v'hivdila parochet lachem bein hakodesh uvein kodesh hakodashim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Shekoach. Dan, and the two of you can come over here. Mishabech for you. Is over here. Dan, you can see Shekoach. Thank you so much. Yishaberach, Avotenu, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, V'imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless these two wonderful birthday women who came here today with honor for the Torah, honor for Shabbat, honor for the people of Israel. We take that honor doubly that they came on their birthdays. May they be blessed with a year of joy, of good health, of adventure, sweetness, and of all the wonderful things they might imagine for themselves and their loved ones this year. And may we say Amen. Seriously, it's an honor to be joined by you on your birthdays. If one of you could stay up for the next Aliyah, or both, you could, rock, paper, scissors for it. Next Aliyah, Lori Solnick is going to chant, beginning with verse 34. The second Aliyah, precedence? First dibs goes to anyone who's benching Gomel. That would be if you've survived something scary recently, an accident, a sickness, a surgery, something that you are grateful to have gotten onto the other side of. Is anyone in that category who wants to come up for the next Aliyah? Okay, thank God. Okay. In that case, since our Torah portion is dealing with ritual stuff, like ritual holy accoutrement, this is an Aliyah. This is an odd one. Okay, I was kind of searching, but okay. If you would like to show off your talit, have an Aliyah and show off your talit. You don't have to say anything, but you could tell us where you got it, or whose it used to be, or just like it has good colors. Come on up for the second Aliyah. Show us your talit. Ya'amdu kol alobshim talitot Aliyah hasheni.
I have a story about my talit.
Please, yes, you can do the Aliyah in the reading.
So I searched for years for a talis that would speak to me, and I looked at all kinds of colors for years, and nothing spoke to me until I saw a white one. So the
There
white
you
one
go.
spoke to me.
I love that. Thank you, Lori. Go for it. The 12 blessings are.
Yes, I know.
Okay. And also, do you know your spot? You do?
Yeah, right here.
Nice. All right.
Yep. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. V'natata et ha'kaporet al aron ha'edut bekodesh ha'kadashim v'samta et ha'shulchan mechut laparochet v'et ha'menorah nochach ha'shulchan al tzela ha'mishkan Temana v'hashulchan titen al tzela tzafon v'asita masach lepetach ha'ohel techelet v'argaman v'tola'at shani v'shesh mashzar ma'as Serokem Vyasita lemasach Chamisha amudei shitim V'tzipita otam zahav Vavehem zahav Vayitzakta lahem Chamisha adnei nechoshet. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Yasher Koach. Beautiful. You can come over here. You two can be seated. Happy birthday again. So before our third and final Aliyah, with our Torah still open here, we are going to take the opportunity to say a blessing for those in need of healing. So if you would like to share the names of folks that you're thinking of, who you're pulling for to get some healing right now, you're welcome to do so. We'll be singing the words they're kind of weirdly hidden in our Siddur. Turn to page 82. They're all the way to the right, sort of hidden towards the bottom in the middle of column. I promise they're there. Page 82, on the right, towards the bottom, almost deliberately hidden. I don't understand. This is like the most common melody for Misha Berach, like among the Jewish people, at least in North America today, so I don't know what's going on with that. But think of your people, think of who needs some healing, and you can say their names now.
Crystal.
Rob Lasker.
All who suffer from violent crimes.
All right, our third aliyah is going to be chanted in honor of so many of our beloved friend and neighbor, Lenny Braverman. Turning the volume up, we've got his sisters, Paula and Gail, here. I don't know, should you be facing the Torah? Okay, let's face you towards the Torah right now, and we'll face you towards the kahal, the community, like when you're speaking about Lenny. I feel like that makes sense. Okay, say something. I'll make sure we can hear you.
Yes.
All right. Okay, and you're on the big speaker, so everyone can hear you really well. This third aliyah is going to be
Rabbi Spiro, the service is beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much, Gail. Thank you. Yosh is going to come on up and chant our third aliyah. You'll meet Yosh coming up here in a second. Amazing. We're on page 551 of our Chumash, Exodus chapter 27, verse 1. She's your apprentice. Amazing. You didn't use the word apprentice. I just like the idea of you being a store apprentice. You're teaching him. Brilliant. Beautiful. Okay. This is the first time we've ever had an aliyah like this, where I'm like, there should be figure over here, but that's what it is. Okay, brilliant. It's happening. Okay. You are right here. Paula and Gail, do you know your Hebrew names?
Yes, I'm Pesha.
Pasha,
Pesha.
Bat Lev. Is that right?
My-
No,
my-
it's Bat Moshe.
Do you want?
Yeah.
Yes. You want mine also?
Yeah.
Golda Surah.
Golda Sora.
Yes.
Both Bat Moshe. Obviously, yes.
Yes.
Or not obviously. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know your mother's Hebrew name as well?
Laya.
Laya. Beautiful. Okay. Yeah. Du Hesha Bat Moshe Valaya Sorry, Gail, say yours again. But Golda Sora Bat Moshe Valaya La'aliyah Hashlishit. Okay. And you can say the blessing now. Baruch.
Okay, so the first line, Baruch et Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Asher
Banu Mikol Ha'amin
V'natan
Banu et Torato Baruch Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
אמן. ועשית את המזבח חצי שיטים 5 אמות אורך ו5 אמות רוחב. רבוע יהיה המזבח ו3 אמות קומתו. ועשית קרנותיו על 4 פינותיו ממנו תהיינה קרנותיו וציפית אותו נחושת. ועשית סירותיו לדשנו ויעב ומזרקותיו ומזלגותיו ומחתותיו לכל כליו תעשה נחושת.
Okay, now you can say the blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam
asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan v'chayenu Baruch atah Adonai
Noten
HaTorah.
HaTorah.
Amen. Yasher Koach, Yosh, thank you. Yasher Koach, Paula and Gail. Yasher Koach, Lori, see. It's our first time doing that, and I think it worked out beautifully. So it is a really, it's a hard thing these days to, for the last not quite month, when we have a service as a community, to not have Lenny be a part of it, because he pretty much always was. And that just feels like a really big, missing pull for many of us. So it is really it feels really right, Gail and Paula, to have you here at services. One of you with a weirdly identical face to Lenny, both of you with reminiscent voices, just like
Me, I look like
I'm so happy that we're able to hear from you. So I'm gonna turn you around so we can. Here, okay. So can you see folks? Can folks see you?
I can see
the
congregation.
Amazing. Okay, so let's just take a moment. We want to hear some Lenny stories.
Okay. Paul, you want to go first? Should I go first?
Sure.
You can go first. Go.
Okay, I'll speak first. I have a new memory actually that I want to speak about, but before I begin that one, when Leonard would come back to New York, every family's home started to prepare for the coming of Leonard. And everything was put in its place and made sure we had the food that he liked. But especially everyone would get together to make sure that we are on his schedule. Everyone wanted their own Lenny time. So we had to make sure that all the families were able to spend some time with him. And that was a problem because we all wanted to spend time with him 100% of the time, especially the children. Because Lenny always spent time, great deal of time, playing with them, reading with them, being with them. So his passing affects the children a great deal. However, we have a new memory of Leonard. Gail and I were at his home this past January. And after notifying just one neighbor about Leonard's passing, the neighborhood heard that the sisters were in the house. Neighbor after neighbor came up his steps to meet us and to tell us how much Lenny meant to them. Others obtained our cell numbers and sent sincere messages about our dear brother. We never met these people, and yet they took the time to meet us and to share memories of him with us. We were even offered chicken soup, which was just amazing. Lenny often spoke about this congregation, and he would discuss the topics brought up during services, and we would have discussions ourselves. So thank you for that. We always knew that he loved Washington, and we always knew that he loved living in Washington. And now we truly understand why. Knowing he had such wonderful people around him is really a great comfort to my sister and myself. We cannot thank you enough for all your kind words, your concern, and your support. We are greatly, greatly appreciative of your friendship and your love for our brother. It just means so much to us to know. Thank you.
I thank you also for including us in today's service. And I have a story about Leonard and Passover. He always wanted to make sure that the children, were included in the service. And so he made up booklets for them. Sometimes they would be for them to color at the service, or everybody always had a part to read during the service. And towards the end, my brother had an amazing ability to come up with absolutely marvelous clues to give to the children when they would look for the afikomen. And you had to be really astute. The adults would, of course, each set of parents would listen and, try to help their own child a little bit. And he would always come up with clues around the house that would guide you to where it was. And that was such a fun part. And I think the adults who guessed it and kept it kind of quiet until one of the children found it were very proud of themselves when they said at the end, "I knew it, I knew that's what it was." And that's our Leonard and Passover story. And Paula, we are going to have to continue the tradition, so we're going to have to think of very good clues of where we're going to hide it. And that is my Leonard story.
Well, the Rosa's story is a good story too.
Yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. See, we could just talk about it for the rest of the day. One other quick story is that he made the most delicious harosas during the holiday, and I always had seconds and thirds after he passed it around. It was really almost like an appetizer. He really had a great gift for cooking, and this was one of the things that he would make for the holiday, and he took his time and he perfected it. It was really, really delicious.
That's
so those are my two Passover stories.
I was just handed a recipe to his haroset, an email from Lenny to Alan, Should I read this out loud? This is so funny.
Do we have, I don't know, if we don't have anything written down.
No, we do. Lenny emailed it to Alan.
So your brother.
He never shared it. He never, right, he never shared.
He would make it at my home, and so I made it many years with it.
So your brother.
His recipe though, not mine, his recipe.
He mentioned his chorus recipe, I think 2 years ago when we did an online Seder in the early days of COVID. And he mentioned the secret ingredient. I followed up the next day asking him in an email, hey Lenny, you mentioned the secret ingredient, I'd be curious. And then he responded with the following email, which at this point I guess is worth reading because he brought it up. And it's classic Lenny, I think. So, thanks for your interest. The special ingredient is a combination of lemon, honey, and cinnamon sugar, which I use frequently with fruit or vegetables. When I made my haroset this year, I believe I added honey, but I can't remember if I included the other 2 ingredients. I also chopped up dried apricots together with the raisins. I don't follow a recipe, just go by intuition and taste. Everything is measured by eye. That's it. Granted,
That's it.
this is a classic last line where I learned a little bit of history, which I'll explain the reference in a minute for those of you who are younger than me. Granted, this might not be as special as the ingredient that goes into Alice B. Tokless brownies. So I was too young to know who Alice B. Tokless brownies were, but for those of you who don't know,
Yes, we do, we remember.
Lori is, so she apparently was well known for her pot brownies. And that's how he ended his
Thank you, Alan. Paula, Gail, thank you so much for that. Are there other folks who would like to say anything? Honestly, like, we could study the Parsha, but I also feel like if we're meant to be focusing on, like, the little details that come together to, like, bring holiness to a community, whether they be aesthetic details, or otherwise, I feel like Lenny was all about those details. If you ever had the privilege of going to his house, I feel like you got a sense of, you know, that attention to care, that care for detail, attention to detail. I don't know. I kind of just want you to bring home your source sheets, study the Parsha on your own. I feel like it's a really followable thing. Tell us about Lenny, if you have memories. If you never got to meet him, this is a chance to learn more. I know we have neighbors here. I know we have friends. If you have a story you want to share, please do. Yeah. And maybe come on up close to the computer also, because I don't know if Paula and Gail can hear so well from back there.
I don't know if my story doesn't really have a punchline, so it's hard to follow. Are you able to hear?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, I'm Lenny's next door neighbor. I'm sorry I missed you when you were in town. Lenny greeted us when we moved to the street 10 years ago, or 10 years ago. I'm going to miss his John Waters mustache and his sense of style. And I got to, he never let me do anything for him. I would offer constantly, because he was always quite kind and sweet to me and my 2 girls. He was always bringing out his supplies from his career to share a book or a coloring magazine or something for my 2 girls, and was just he was a great neighbor. He fixed his leaks and helped me fix mine. And I have to say, in December he was in the hospital and for a few days, and I got to sit with him there, and we didn't do anything. We didn't really talk about much, and it was one of the best times I've had all year. It was incredibly special, and so I'll miss Lenny. Thank you for this.
So I'm saying, you want to say a story?
Patrick.
Thanks for being here.
You want to say something about Leonard?
Any others who'd like to speak? Yeah, Virginia.
Hi, I'm Virginia. I did not know Lenny outside of Kilhavara, but as Rabbi Hannah said, he came to everything. So my one really strong recollection, and there's quite a few, is sitting out at this bench that's outside of the church, and we were doing some kind of Torah study. And again, like, I don't know, maybe 4 people were there, but one was Lenny and one was me. And I was really upset, and it's not uncommon, about some neighborhood violence. Some kids had been killed. And I was talking about that, and I don't know, I was being kind of oblique at first, and I wasn't being really clear. And I didn't know Lenny at all, except for participating in services. And he started to talk about his years as a teacher and how the violence had impacted the kids that he taught. And it was really kind of it was like the Alice B. Toklas thing. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting to hear, and it was kind of it really opened things up to our Torah study in a new kind of way. And it really made me realize that there was an awful lot going on with Lenny that like you could miss, because he was quiet and respectful and didn't like to take. He would always say, can I talk again? And didn't want to take up a lot of space. But he was really an intensely wonderful addition to all of our learning and our davening, and he's missed.
That's true. Yeah. Thanks, Virginia.
Thank you.
Any other folks who'd like to speak? All right. Oh, man. This is hard.
I'd like to
Yeah. Please.
say one more thing about my brother.
Please do.
Can I say one more thing about my brother?
Yes, please do. Yeah.
Okay. He was a very big lover of the arts. And Gail and I enjoyed our trips to Washington, and he would always get us tickets to the Kennedy Center to see performances. And that's something that we will definitely miss going into the future, because that was such a wonderful weekend with my brother. And then when he would come to New York, we would get tickets for the Met in New York and Lincoln Center, and that's just very special times that we had with him. He just loved the arts. He loved the opera and he loved ballet.
He loved listening to chamber music. Remember, many times I would talk to him, and he said he's going to listen to chamber music that night.
He was busy.
And if you ever stayed in his home, he had speakers all over his home, and so if you liked it or not, that you got to hear it.
That's
amazing. He played it all the time.
That's amazing. Well, it seems like you have a lot of new friends here now in DC. If you want to hear some music or see some shows down here in Lenny's honor, I definitely think there are people who will want to see you, maybe even host you. So, I mean, please come back down. You've got people here now.
Thank you.
Like I said, this is just really hard. There's like a big empty space where he was during services. So I am, yeah, actually, let me leave you facing everyone. Why not? Yeah, so moving forward with the service, but we'll be coming to the Mourner's Cottage soon. And Lenny is a name that will be coming up for very many of us. For now, return the Torah to the Ark. We're going to turn to page 83. I'll invite up our Magpia and our Golalim, Howard, Courtney, and Noah. Ya'amdu ha-Magpia v'ha-Golalim. please rise as the Torah is lifted.
You'll spot me, of course.
Okay. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael mi Adonai v'yad Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Dr. Koach, let's turn to page 92. We'll return the Torah to the ark. Got it? Exciting lama chatitim ba retom techa rebusha teraleha lafenoam v'chol netivoteha shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva kadesh kadesh yameinu kadesh yameinu You may be seated. I'd like to invite Marlene Singer to offer some announcements. I think, are you muted? Yes, you are muted.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I can see everyone. It's a little bit strange, but I'm glad to be able to see you all. I'm really glad that we have Lenny's sisters joining us today. And I'd like to start with two things that actually are part of our Hil Chavurah activities that offer some insight and opportunities for you in Lenny's memory. But before I do that, I need to plug in my battery because I just got a notice that my battery is low. So hang on with me for 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. You might remember that a few weeks back, we began to advertise the opportunity to participate in a talit making workshop, which we postponed because so many people did not want it to be in person, and we will be rescheduling that. But I just wanted to say that if you would like to honor Lenny's memory, one way you can do that is by participating in the talit making workshop, because Lenny from the hospital requested to participate in the talit making workshop and asked that materials be dropped off at the hospital if at all possible. And so unfortunately we weren't able to include him in that activity, but you can participate in that activity when we resume. So please watch for the announcements. The other thing I wanted to say is that as we were looking for ways to serve our community and then found out about Lenny's passing, we decided to name our January Chesed activity, which will become an annual activity, in honor of Lenny's memory. And I just wanted to report to you that this year, through January and the beginning of February, 26 people from our congregation came forward, and I think many of them with members of their family, baked and cooked to assist people who needed an extra lift and needed an extra hand during a very difficult time. And so we actually had so many requests to bake and participate that we began considering buying a freezer where we could store things in the event that we have other situations, happy situations, as well as perhaps shivas where people might be wanting some additional assistance. So all of that in honor of Lenny's memory, and I hope that you'll participate along with us when we put out calls for both of those activities. So with that, I wanted to remind everyone that tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, we have a security training for our congregation. This is very specific to our congregation. It's really important that you sign up and participate. It will be an hour and a half. This is called Countering Active Threats, and it will be hands-on information about how we help protect one another in the community in the event of a threat. You can sign up. The link is on Schmoozy News, just under the calendar. Tuesday night at 7:30, we have our monthly board meeting. And then on Wednesday evening at 7:30, we have part 3 of our workshop with Beit Mishpacha called Does God Have Pronouns? And last week, we, along with Beit Mishpacha, compared our machzorim that we use for the high holidays and why we made some of the changes and decisions that we did. It was really interesting. And this Wednesday night, we'll hear from Bryn Solomon, who has written a gender-neutral siddur. And then next week on Shabbat, we have a meditation and Torah study at 8:45, followed by Tot Shabbat. And the last thing I'll announce, because there's just so many announcements, I'm going to limit it to the next 2 weeks. We have a program on Tuesday night, February 15th, called Life After Hate. It's a discussion and a Q&A session with former members of right-wing extremist groups. That is on Zoom, and we hope that all of you will join us. This will be a very, very interesting conversation. As you can see, we have a lot going on. There are a lot of programs planned for the end of February and through March, and we hope you'll join us for all of them. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and thank you for being here.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much, Marlene. Let's turn to page 107 for Ein Kelohenu. We'll begin to conclude our service. Ein Kelohenu, Ein Karonenu, Ein Kemalkenu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Chelohenu, Mi Charonenu, Mi Chemalkenu, Mi Chemoshienu, Nodel Elohenu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Elohenu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Elohenu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Page 108. Please rise in body or in spirit. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו echad. You may be seated, at least for a moment, as we prepare for the Mourner's Kaddish on page 111. And there are two names in particular I know we're thinking of in our community this morning. Obviously, so many of us are remembering Lenny Braverman, Zichrono Livracha. We are almost at the end of his Shloshim, the initial 30 days of mourning him. And we're also remembering Nathaniel Aaron Mesnikoff, brother of Ann Mesnikoff. I believe it's his 47th yahrzeit that just passed. So if you're in mourning or remembering someone on or around their yahrzeit, I invite you to rise, and you can share their names if you like. Please rise if it's your custom for the Kaddish. Page 111. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'al v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadal v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha blich hu. Le'ela min kol bilchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imomav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and abundant memories to all those who remember. And let us say, Amen. Adon Olam, the final song in our service, can be found on page 112. אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נעשה בחפצו גדול, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי לכלות הכל, לבדו נמלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נעשה בחפצו גדול, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי לכלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשילו להכבירה, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמזרח. והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצוחב לי בעת צרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נעשה בחפצו גדול, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי לכלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. בידו הפקיד רוחי בעת פגישה בעירה, ואם רוחי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא אירא. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נעשה בחפצו גדול, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. אחרי לכלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. All right, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much to everyone who was a part of this service, to Gail, to Paula, to Dan, Lori, Yosh, our birthday women, Marlene. Thank you everyone for being a part of this. All the neighbors who came to share stories, to just like add energy. Really beautiful morning to spend with you. We're gonna give people who are not trying to be inside with anyone unmasked a few minutes to escape before we do Kiddush and Motzi and have some wine, grape juice, challah, other treats. So we'll just like give it 5 minutes, say hello. If you want to escape any unmasked happenings, go for it. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And I'm gonna, you guys are free to get off the computer if you want to, but if you want to stay on it, I can be totally.